Do you feel like you're always kind of walking around with a guard up because there's a lot of things that you're wary of in terms of higher powers and the Matrix and even Google?
So much, brother. I think one of the biggest things in life is developing a filtration system for truth and being able to determine whether what you see out there is real or not. It's not. 99% of it is manipulated and it's positioned. That's why it's called search engine optimization, because somebody's optimizing the search engine to spit out specific results. And all you have to understand is what people are going to look for, position yourself, and you capture the traffic. When you look at big data, you can buy all the data in the world for like 10 grand right now. All the data that Facebook has, you can buy it. They're not selling data. What are they selling? Traffic, attention.
Mm-hmm. So do you use the Tor browser, the Youngin stuff?
Nah, the normal shit, bro.
No,
Yeah.
not the deep web and all of that stuff.
I like to cross-reference. So for example, if I want to search something that has to do with like American propaganda, or I know it's like an American psyop, I'll go to like a Russian search engine because they're not going to have the same government filtration systems that Google have. If I want to search something about Russia, I'll use American tools because they'll be less biased towards the information that gets spit out.
We can't necessarily trust everything we see online. So how do we know what we can trust?
Well, you need to develop a filtration system for truth. So what is a filter? A filter is a mechanism that allows the separation between two different particles. In this case, your particles is truth and falsehood. So what is the filtration system? What is the process by which this information goes through to be purified? Most people don't have any. Why? Because they haven't thought about it. But there are simple frameworks and simple filters that exist out there. I often quote the scientific method: observation, hypothesis, testing, analyzing, arriving to a conclusion. That is truth. You observe something, you test it, you cross-reference it, you put it to practice, you evaluate the results, and then you achieve what? A conclusion. But people don't use that filtration system for anything. So when I watch somebody on YouTube make a video on the 5 tips for success, right? I want to filter that through the filter of truth. And that filter is, okay, I'm going to take this information, I'm going to cross-reference it with other people's information, I'm going to evaluate the validity and the scalability of what this individual is saying. And then finally, I'm going to put it to practice. I'm going to test it and I'm going to determine for myself, whether it's true or not. You have to put it to the test, which is what we were talking about fitness. Okay, there's part of fitness which is intuitive, right? So you develop intuitive fitness by what? Going to the gym, spending time with your body. You develop what? Truth, how to work out and how not to work out. By what? Repetition, by exercise, by intentionality, by using the scientific method. That's why it's called the natural sciences. That's why it's called the physical sciences, because there is a process. Now, people think that you believe in science. No, science is just a framework to achieve a specific outcome. In this case, truth. But just like that, you can apply multiple different filters and determine whether something can stand the test of time or not.
Are most people just lazy? Because there's obviously a lot of energy involved in using this filtration system. And it seems like a lot of people would rather just take things at face value and not attempt to discover the truth.
Yes, you're right. I mean, to discover truth means, first of all, that you will be insulted with the realization that you're an ignorant fuck. That's the first thing. People don't like to be wrong. People like to be right. If you don't read books, if you don't educate yourself, it's because you believe that you know everything. If you come into life with the mentality, I don't know anything, I am literally a fucking worm, I'm a scrub, I position myself in the situation of humility, then life gives to me the opportunities to learn lessons. When my ears are shut, when my mind is shut, then the eyes don't fucking matter. It doesn't matter what information I show you. It doesn't matter what data. It doesn't matter what podcast you listen to. It doesn't matter what advice you take. Unless there's a fundamental shift, it makes no sense. So I think it's not that people are lazy, is that people don't even know what they want.
Do you think more and more people are actually forming this filtration system nowadays? Because it seems to be a big generational difference. I know my dad used to believe everything that's on the news, but now seeing this online world and what we're doing on YouTube, his kind of mind has been opened up. But there's a lot of older people that just watch, BBC News, for example. Do you think there's a generational difference there?
It's a technological difference. And I was talking with your father about this before, and it has to do with technological revolutions. Every time a technological revolution takes place or a technology is introduced that fundamentally shapes the fabric of reality, like AI or the printing press or the internet, the first couple years are usually led by authoritarian dictatorship style abuse of that technology. The printing press, when it was originally used, well, it was banned in most places until it kind of became commercialized. And now, well, the Bible was being printed all over the place. So now the church no longer had the power struggle of, hey, the peasants have to come to us to learn. So what do we do now? Well, we have to burn the books. But another example of technological revolution that kind of stifled society was the radio. Not the radio in general, but when the radio was introduced in the home. Because now people no longer had to think. They were told what to think by the 3 channels, the 4 channels, the 5 channels on the radio that you would listen to. Now, if you begin to evaluate how the world works today, you can see how easy it would be to manipulate and manage 5 radio channels, 24 hours a day. I could do that right now with a couple $1 million. It's not very difficult. So to assume that that wasn't taking place back then is a fallacy, because it was taking place. That's the first part. The second part is also understanding that the older generation, they didn't really have a choice, right? If all that you have is the fucking public library that's run by the government, the books there are by the government, the history that's written there is by the government, added to the radio in your house, what other source of information you get? You're part of the school system. But another technological revolution took place that disrupted what? It disrupted the radio. What was it? The internet. When the internet was introduced, now people were like, wait. This person is saying this, but I can cross-reference it. Let me check. And now people are utilizing the internet the first 20 years. You saw it, censorship, managing shit, search engine optimization that's controlled, social media bans all sorts of content. But now people are waking up and utilizing this new technology, just like they did in the printing press, and democratizing it. You see decentralization, you see people going viral. You can't really control it, right? At this point, getting censored online is quite difficult. And we've seen this kind of proven over the last couple of years. If you instill enough demand into a specific topic, you kind of can break the algorithm of censorship. And that's kind of what took place in the printing press. That's what took place when the radio was introduced into the household. And when the internet came and broke that disruption for people to no longer have to listen to those 3 channels, but have the ability to do what? To search everything. But what did the smart marketers and the internet kind of nerds do? They're like, okay, well, let's control the first 3 pages of search, because people are lazy. They're not going to go past the first 3 pages. They'll see Luke Belmar's net worth on the first page of Google and assume that that's true. But is it true? How do you know that it's true? How are you cross-referencing it? You don't. You don't even know me. You don't know anything about me. You're just making assumptions based off of the information that's out there. And just like the radio, that information is also controlled. But now you have the introduction of AI and AGI, which is the next revolution that's taking place, which is your access to democratized information. You see videos going viral on TikTok all the time about the craziest shit. And it's real stuff, right? It's the craziest shit. And what it comes to prove is that now the internet is becoming democratized. The information is becoming democratized. So to say, that we live in a different age, it's not an age gap, it's a technological gap. Because had the older generation, like your father, had access to the internet, the decision-making process would have been completely different, because they would have had access to a different set of tools to make decisions. Now we are without excuse. I don't care if you live in Africa. I don't care if you live in South America. I don't care if you live in the North Pole. If you have a computer, if you have a cell phone, if you have the internet, you have the opportunity, specifically with free AI that's out there, to at least do something with your life. And the democratization of information gives access to the democratization of opportunity. And opportunity is everywhere.